Odi hey, all of you wonderful people! I'm Odi May, and I'm back with another interesting exhibition coming to the Waterloo area soon. Well, sort of soon. It isn't coming out until June, but there's a good reason for why it's not coming out till then. This exhibition is titled Connecting with Art Through Nature, which is an exhibit focused in looking at art that connects with nature while encouraging you to interact with the nature around you during the viewing experience. So it has to kind of be warm out to really have the best experience. This specific installation will be held at Kotowski Greenbelt, a park right here in Waterloo. Currently, they're working on building a movable greenhouse where all of the pieces can be displayed. That way, when you go to visit, the artworks can still be safe by being inside, but you can still interact with and view the nature around you while observing the pieces. Along with its specific location, this installation focuses specifically on Latin American art, a lot of which comes from the Haitian collection from the nearby Waterloo Center for the Arts. So, now that you've gotten some background, let's explore the pieces that'll be shown off. This first piece is untitled and we don't know of the artist, but we do know that this is called a mola, which is another word for a blouse. On it, it depicts two birds along with a form in the middle, which could be an abstracted deity or a person. This depiction of birds is very common in molas, seeing as they appear in almost 1 in every 5. Not only that, but birds in general are held in very high regard in Kuna culture, and it shows just how important birds are in everyday life to be put on clothes that are worn regularly. It shows their connection and appreciation for nature in the ways that they go about depicting them, often showing each bird off with their own levels of care and appreciation. Next, we have a piece by Monte Bravo entitled Fruits and Fantasy. This piece obviously features interlocking ideas of nature, as seen through the fruits and various animals and the human identity. This is shown in multiple ways, the first way being in the fact that a baby is overlapping the bird, suggesting a possible connection since birth. The papayas are seen cut in half, showing the seeds where the fruit first began, almost as if it's meant to represent their beginnings and their ties to the land, like how the seeds of the papaya trees were originally in the ground/land. Just looking at this piece, it doesn't really take much to see that it's showing the connection between people and nature, especially when it comes to showing off nature that is tied to Cuba, such as the papaya. Despite the clear intentions, it's even clearer to see this when we have an actual statement from the artist saying so. He says, "I carry that world inside me, the world of animals, plants, and messengers of each person." It's very clear that Monte Bravo brings important memories and things he's seen during his life in Cuba and puts them into his art with great care. The next piece is made by Escobar Guadalupe Hermosillo. This sculpture represents lots of different symbols and ideas, the biggest one seen being the fact that it's based around the cross. While the cross is a Christian symbol and represents the large population in Latin American countries that do practice Christianity, there's actually another symbol that could tie to past beliefs as well. At the bottom of the cross, there's a snake, which is a very common symbol used in pre-Columbian art, since it ties back to the origins of Mexico and because many gods were associated with snakes, like Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. This reference to the snake brings back their past religious connections to snakes and nature, and it combines it with more current beliefs after the conquest. It shows the way in which identities have changed over time, but still stick around through simple things like animals and other forms of nature. This next piece is by contemporary bicultural artist Paul Valadez, who lives in Texas, right next to the border between Mexico and the US. This piece itself is called Paper Borders, and I believe it is meant to showcase the different types of trees seen in this area where he lives. Each paper illustrates a part of his identity by showing all the differences and similarities between these pieces of nature, much like the similarities and differences of the people on both sides of the border. It's a way to represent the similarities and differences with his own identity as a bicultural man whose mother is white and whose father is Mexican. This next piece is called La Sirène in Voyage by Rigard Benoit. This is a painting that depicts La Sirène, who is a Haitian mermaid spirit. She's seen as a symbol of wealth, but can also bring doom. It is believed that if you anger her, she will drag you down into the ocean. However, it's not only her anger that can drag people down. Like most sirens, La Sirène has the ability to seduce those who come across her. These seem like pretty baseline siren qualities, but what stands out about her is that she's connected to the cooling property of water and even controlling it, as seen in the painting by her having enough power to bring the boat out of the water. The idea of a siren obviously connects people with nature and the fact that a siren is literally the top half of a human and the bottom half of a fish connected. But it also demonstrates it in other ways. For example, the fact that she's connected to wealth or doom can be connected to water just the same. Water can devastate areas, just like she might when she's angry. On the other hand, water can house fish and other creatures that can be caught and either sold or eaten, causing monetary wealth or a wealth of physical well-being. This next piece is entitled Mermaid with Sailfish by Jonas Bolan. Again, we have a depiction of a half fish, half woman. However, we're not quite sure if she's technically La Sirene or not. This piece is entitled Mermaids, so we'll just go along with assuming that she's just some mermaid swimming around. Now, keep in mind all the stuff I said about how there's already a human and fish connection in the literal sense as seen in the mermaid. But on top of that, there's a strong sense of intimacy between the mermaid and the fish. They're close to each other, almost as if she's kissing the fish on the forehead. Not to mention, the movement of the fish and her body almost form a heart between them. To me, it seems like a deep appreciation for fish, or maybe even the whole aquatic system, thanking it for the ways that it can help us humans, especially for those living in coastal areas like Haiti. Next, we have a piece entitled Chickens by Beaumont Byron. This is a piece solely with chickens and nature. There's an idea of family within this piece as seen by the two larger chickens, the one on top most likely being the rooster/father, while the one below is the mother, all accompanied by many chicks. There's an underlying sense of connection between both us and the chickens that come from the fact that we are both living creatures with families. On top of the idea of family, there's also a sense of holiness, specifically to the rooster. There seems to be a faint glow and he's much more colorful and large. So there could also be implications of God within this piece, or maybe even commentary about the social ladder and how men seem to be higher up on that ladder. In that context, it seems as if the chickens are just symbols for people in society, showing the importance of family, but with a reminder that men will always have more power to them, shown by the large and luxurious feathers. This next piece is by Cuban artist Pedro Blanco Aroche and is titled Serenading Jesus at His Supper. This is a contemporary piece showing a religious celebration within Cuba. All of the people are serenading Jesus, as the name implies. This scene not only takes place in nature, but directly connects nature to the pride Cubans have for their country. In the tree to the right, there is a bird that is most likely meant to be the Cuban trogon, which is Cuba's national bird. The Cuban trogon is able to be connected simply just in the way that it looks. With its light blue and white colors that are contrasted by the red triangular shape on its stomach, it's very similar to the Cuban flag, as seen on one of the man's hats. This depiction of the trogon furthers their own national identity and pride for their country through their connection to a specific bird from their country's geographical location. This piece is actually an instrument called a güiro. Güiros are very popular in Latin America and were originally made from gourds that were carved to have ridges and holes that people could use to help hold on to it. This shows the importance of the land and how they were able to take from their surroundings and further develop them into an aspect of their culture. Even the ones like this one that are not made from a gourd still connect with nature in the way that they are designed. This one in particular is shaped like a fish, which makes a lot of sense since fish are very popular in Mexico due to it being a coastal area. This is a piece by Philippe Junot, and it is the depiction of Ogwe, a Haitian spirit of the water. He rules over the sea and all within it, but also helps people by guiding fishermen back on track when they get lost at sea. Offerings are often held for him, and are done so by offering them to the sea itself. Obviously, there's a deep appreciation for the sea as seen by this god. He's caring to the humans, and they show their appreciation for his care by giving offerings. Also, just the fact that he's portrayed as a fish adds another layer onto the deep gratitude for the sea and sea life. This is a piece by Andre Normil and is called Noah Arrives. This is a representation of how the conquest affected Haiti. When the conquest took over the majority of Latin America, with it came Spaniards forcing the people of Haiti to convert to Christianity, which they believed was the more civilized and correct religion. Specifically, this is a depiction of one of the stories in the Bible, otherwise known as Noah's Ark. This is supposedly after the flood and shows the animals and people coming back to the land and making an altar for God. God then promises to not flood the land again, thanks to Noah's altar. This shows that appeasing the deities was something that many people did even after conversion. just differently than they did before. Offerings were usually made in order to help the land and people prosper, just like how it was done in the Bible story. This ties in the connection of nature and religion and how they're both big parts of Haitian people's identities. I must say I'm really excited for this exhibit to come out, and I can't wait to see it, especially with the fact that you get to look at nature while looking at the art. It really fits in with the theme. I hope you're excited to see it as well, but I think that'll be all for me today. This is Odie May signing off. Have a great Odie day!